Alright. I fixed it, but I killed Ryan.
What? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm still alive.
You've been replaced by Jace, though.
Well, he's better looking than I am.
Sorry, Jace.
There's.
Oh my goodness.
Lovely.
How's it going now, guys?
Okay. Alright,
I'm
please
glad-
tell me. I'm so confident right now that I fixed it. Please tell me that actually worked.
I'm glad fixing this stuff is not my job.
Yeah.
Instead,
And, yeah.
leave
People
it
give
up.
me,
Leave it to Sean to figure it out.
yeah, or just break it more. Maybe I'll just break it more. Alright, let me steal this. Twitch chat, no echo yet. I am.
How are
Hi.
you doing now?
Hi, guys. Alright.
Echo-free.
It's gone.
Echo-free streaming.
Oh, man.
You only have to hear us say things once.
Yeah. So,
Goodness.
alright, I guess we got a lot of questions to
Yes.
answer.
Reset. So I'm just
All right.
gonna. We'll just play. But I want to get back to it. So assuming that everything we were saying earlier is kind of lost to the echo chamber.
Yeah, that's right.
One of the bigger changes in the new build is the battlefield itself, where we moved the prompt box from locked to the hand on the left to the middle of the left pane. That allows us to adjust, to freeze up the hand from the prompt box so that the hand can go down really far if you choose to, which is how I like it. And then we've replaced the zones on the right with iconography, so you can collapse this down to here, but still see your zones and even expand them. I love it. It's a change that I was happy to have made, and really creates a lot of space on the battlefield.
I actually, yeah, I hadn't seen this change until like a couple days ago. When I saw it, it was actually kind of shocked me.
So down when you do have it reduced, the cards pop up. This is something we're going to iterate on some more before we make a final feature. I believe by the time we do the spotlight, we're going to actually pull the pop-up out. We want something like this, but the way it's currently functioning isn't exactly how we want it. So we're going to work on that a little more before we go with that full time, basically.
Okay.
I don't have a key. Let's see what we'll read. I'm going to set some of my. This is weird. I'm not playing with a keyboard in front of me, and I'm very much a keyboard playing Magic Online player.
All you need
so
is this F6 button right here.
Yeah.
If you want to just keep pushing that, it would be
I'm definitely an F8er.
perfect. Yeah.
I F8 first thing out of the gate. That just says if I'm tapped out with nothing to be able to activate, to just skip ahead, auto yield. But anyway, I'll just play this deck. If you have questions
Sure.
you want to throw at me from the community, go for it.
Okay. First of all, you mentioned the wide beta spotlight, but you want to give some people some, if they haven't heard, some information about what that's going to be like?
Yeah, so on after downtime on Wednesday, May 8th, we're going to come up for 2 days with the wide beta client as the only available client for Magic Online. And on May 9th, we are going to introduce Dragon's Maze pre-release queues a little bit early. And so if you come and try out the new client with us, you can get a 1-day jump on Dragon's Maze. One of the questions, actually, I think on here, I think Dwarven Pony asked, request for a pop-up when choosing a basic land to select forest, mountain, etc. I'm not sure exactly what he meant.
I think like with Terramorphic Expanse, kind of search your library.
The thing with that is that people, we can't take away people's ability to actually look at their library when they do something to search their library. It's actually part of the function of cards like Terramorphic Expanse that you can see your library. What we have done is you can see, so the library pops up. The deck, if I want to browse it, is all over here. But the cards that I can select, which is only 3, are all moved to the left in a separate column to the left with the yellow highlighting that indicates that it's selectable. So I think that's the best solution to provide that while still allowing people to look at their entire deck.
Cool.
And I'm not going to pay 2 life.
All right, there's a question here from the forums. Pantera Canes and a Jarn. Sorry if I'm not saying your forum names just right. Are there any plans to allow the phase bar to be dockable to other spots? That way people who want it, would like it on the other side, can have it that way. That's related to another request I see from the community. They want it a vertical phase bar also.
Yeah. I'm also the phase bar. From like I said, for me, I'm going to. This might have been during the echo chamber, but the phase bar itself will be collapsible as of the Spotlight build. And as far as verticality and docking and undocking is something we really wanted to get done before we turned off V3.
Mm-hmm.
It turned out to be a work effort that was too significant. It would have cost us too many other features and improvements to be worth doing at that point in time. And a lot of that, that's been a lot of our process in the last several months, is really prioritizing and figuring out which things are most important to the experience, and making sure that we are prioritizing things that are of the right importance and use the right amount of time, because those are the two big constraints. And basically docking, we couldn't justify it with the time we had before V3 off, but we absolutely intend to make Graveyard, all of these zones, be able to pop out, move around the screen, store wherever you want, enlarge, shrink, whatever, and then pop back in where you want. We want to get the preview pane working with that as well, so you can dock the preview pane and have a large card version floating on the battlefield when you want. And phase bar, we'll keep an eye on that. I would like to see both the phase bar and the things like the stack ultimately be able to go vertical if people want them.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that's going to be part of the immediate dockable, undockable work that happens shortly after V3 off remains to be seen. It's going to depend on what kind of extra effort that adds, and those kinds of resource benefit type decisions.
What creature do I want to... Okay, there we go.
Good choice.
Yeah, I wanted one of my own. All right.
The lack of Eldrazi spawn art makes me sad. There's some missing art bugs like that we know about, but again, in the priority of things, we have to choose our work efforts very carefully at this point.
If you zoom in, it looks like they have the large art. They just don't have the little art yet.
Well, that one doesn't either.
All right. I've got more that I collected from around the community in the last few days. Twitch chat, I'm also looking at some of your questions, so keep those coming.
I am so warping right now. This is a little early to warp. I might swing and miss, but we're going for it.
What turn are we on? All right. You might regret that.
I might not. I just warped into a prime time, and I'm getting my warp world back. So, let's see. All
right, here's one I've seen a few times. Why don't you just use the game interface from Duels of the Planeswalkers for Magic Online?
It's certainly the aspects of the Duels of the Planeswalkers interface can inspire and inform the UI designers on Magic Online, but it is ultimately a very different game. Duels of the Planeswalkers has a walled garden of several hundred Magic cards, and it's very limited in a lot of aspects in terms of not being full Magic, and we need to make sure that we're offering the ability to handle 12,000 cards and counting.
Mm-hmm.
And so the bottom line, it's not as simple as copy paste this other program's UI into ours. There's completely different frameworks and that kind of thing. But our designers do take that stuff into account when considering the UI for Magic Online, and figuring out what works and doesn't work about that for the program that we have, because believe me, it is a very different program from Duels of the Planeswalkers.
Okay, fair enough. Here's another one. Can you explain the option to automatically size cards versus using the slider? It
Sure.
seems not a lot of people realize that this option is actually there now, because I don't believe it.
Yeah, let me
used to be.
let me resolve this complicated stack here, and then I will demonstrate that.
Why did you play Warp World?
Because it's awesome, obviously. And it does show off a lot of the things I'm liking about how we're coming along in terms of the battlefield interface. I love the library search now. It's definitively better than V3's library search. I mean, it is. And let's get, what do we want? Oh boy, how about more permanence? Currently tapped anyway, let's get some more permanence. Yeah. So the card resizing. The card resizing feature is in the options menu over here, and it's the OCD in me wants to just clear this stack. I can't do anything until I clear the stack. Okay, so in the options, hello. Oh, this is a known bug. Sometimes the right pane gets stuck, but I believe that's going to be fixed for the Spotlight as well. So we default to auto-sizing the cards to the battlefield. You can click the card size slider and actually manually fix in size how big you want the cards. This basically comes into play more when, if the battlefield, imagine the battlefield was really packed and we were in 3-row territory, but you really wanted to see the cards larger, you can say, no matter what, I want the cards this big, and then instead of shrinking them down, you'll get a scroll bar, and you can actually click and drag see how the hand cursor comes up? You can drag the battlefield in that scenario as well, if your preference is to maintain the largest cards possible over seeing all of the battlefield at once, basically.
Okay.
One of the other features that's designed and in the pipeline for being worked on eventually is applying the auto-size cards to apply that to the hand as well, which I think at this point is actually more useful than the battlefield. I think the battlefield, now that it can go to 3 rows and doesn't default to scrolling as it did previously, the more important place to give players control over their custom size is in the hand, so you can expect that in a bit as well. So you can see we've warped into 6 lands. Oh, this is such a fun deck. This is a challenge to see if I can talk about the new client while successfully piloting a very complicated deck. Particularly complicated in terms of the Magic Online interface, which again is one of the reasons I play it a lot while testing. It allows me to find a lot of edge cases and display situations that are worth looking at.
So you brought your second brain with you.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Okay. This is kind of an easy one, but a lot of people might not be familiar with Magic Online in the first place. So just real quick, Devin on Facebook was wondering if you get some starter cards when you sign up for Magic Online.
Yeah, you do. I don't know the full contents of the kit, so maybe we can find I bet if you...
There was actually a forum thread.
A forum thread on it? Okay, so I don't know if you can put that in the chat or something, but basically I can say roughly, this is not a legal claim of what's in the set, but I know that we provide a bunch of commons and uncommons and some deck seeds that you can see some decks you can build from it. You get new player tickets, which allow exclusive entry into certain events.
Pasted.
Okay, that only new players are allowed. That helps you learn the client against other new players. You get a booster pack and 2 tickets, I believe. Anyway, the link is there, and it shows you everything that's in there, and it's a lot of good stuff.
Basically, I believe what happens is it usually updates when a new core set comes out, so you get a lot of the core set cards. Let's see. From the this is actually from the in-game chat. Salvo Harden. Yesterday, I was going around asking questions from the chat channels. Are you still taking feature suggestions, or are all the features for the new client in production and decided upon?
We're always listening to feature suggestions. We have a lot of our own feature suggestions in terms of saying, are we done in the decided upon? We are definitely trying to hit a place where where we're polishing the features we have, before V3 off instead of adding new features right now.
Mhm.
But the work on the client is ongoing and will basically always be ongoing. We're always looking to improve the experience and always looking to add features that the players want. So while something you suggest might not be something that happens before we turn off V3, it's certainly useful and interesting and valuable for us to hear about the features that players want.
Cool. Yeah, I know that came up in Chris's article yesterday, which I should link also. If you guys haven't seen that, there was a big article yesterday that Chris Curitz posted on Daily MTG, and it gave a lot of insight into not only the details for the spotlight and the shut-off time for V3, but also it answered just a lot of questions like, basically, one of the points he made is right now there's two clients, so you've essentially got a lot of people split on what they are focusing on.
Right.
And shutting off V3, after that, basically, the new client gets a lot more attention.
Yeah, we get extra staff. I wouldn't say double, but programmers that cannot that are working on maintaining V3 can be part of the team helping on Shiny, and we're looking for. Oh, here we go. So now, because I've warped enough times, this is where the resizing.
Yeah, all right. It was pretty good.
Is coming into
I
play.
didn't think it was gonna.
So if you choose your own size and want to keep it large the whole time, you can. But then things might run off the battlefield. But if you prefer to just have it auto size the cards and keep everything on the battlefield, you can do that, and then they stay there. And again, you can, if you don't want to keep the red zone always open, you can do that as well. Although right now my big constraint is horizontal, not vertical, with all of the permanents I have. So anyway, that's how I like it.
Yeah, if you excuse me, I'm going to attack with this.
You think
Steel
you're getting a
Hellkite.
turn? It's so cute that you think you're getting another turn. You could.
I got another one here.
Sure. Actually, you might. Let's see. No, I think I got you.
All right. Are there plans to make new sets available online the same day as Paper Magic one day? I know that number's
Plans.
gotten-
Plans is a big word. I would never. I can't speak to a lot of our plans.
Mhm.
I can say that we are absolutely aware of everybody who's a primary Magic Online player's desire to have cards as soon as possible, and we've already made strides to get that gap closer. It's a tough problem. The QA we get from the public. The closed beta testing is super important to us, and I don't know if we'll ever get to same day, but I share that dream. I'll say that. It's certainly not all up to me, but I understand and share that dream personally.
Let's see.
Oh boy.
All right.
It's getting busy in here.
Card Nexus did ask a question about trade lists, or I'm sorry, wish lists. Basically, is more work going to go into getting wish lists to work the way we really want them to work?
We want all of that to be ready for V3 off. If, it's possible that wish lists won't make the cut for being perfected the way we want them by V3 off, but if not, they'll be a priority shortly after. The main thing we want to ensure is that the core way that people trade is functional and where we want it to be at V3 off. And wish lists are, from our research, not actually a heavily used trading mechanism for the most of the trades that happen. But we understand that for those who use it, it's a feature that they want working, and it's definitely in the list. So.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thanks for that question, Card Nexus. I know there are a lot of like importing, exporting wish lists, things like that you've been asking about. I saw your question. Here's one from the Miko chat again. When the beta is released, will the old client be cleanly and completely removed from our computers, and will our deck files be saved?
I'm not the build guy, so it's hard for me to answer that one.
Is that more like a Chris question?
Yeah, a Chris, or maybe not even a Chris, but our build master. I would say that I'll look into that and make sure that nothing about turning off V3 takes away your decks. I mean, one of the things we made sure of is that the importing feature is really strong, so that because in the beta client, the every deck in it is a net deck. Essentially, there is no. We store everything on the servers, and that means we need robust importing, and we intend to have that. I mean, we do. We have so you can basically lasso select a whole ton of decks that you've saved out as local on your client or on your own computer, and bulk import them into the new client. So we'll make sure that turning off V3 does not mean turning off all the decks that you've saved locally, and any decks that you've saved as net decks in V3 already work on already work on the beta client.
Okay.
Hard for me not to say shiny. So, as is known now, it's our internal code name for the client. And now, because I'm talking, I'm totally going to time out on this glorious warp. You know,
it's the only way I can
right.
win at this point.
Yes.
I'm kind of hosed. This is why I play standard.
Well, believe me, I punish people with this in standard too.
Back in the day, well, back 3 years ago, this was
Yeah.
standard.
I am going to lose on time here for sure, but just for people curious. So what all of this recursion of the warp world does is eventually you warp into all of these. Basically, your whole deck, your Lotus Cobra triggers all these lands. You easily get the ability to get 20 mana, cast any number of Eldrazi cards you own out from outside the game without paying their mana costs. And the sideboard of this deck is 15 Eldrazi, including the big three, and then you just charge in with your team of Eldrazi. It's
Awesome.
pretty sweet.
So basically, you're just counting on your opponent seeing that and then conceding, right?
I got scoops to that a lot, but there's some good sports in this deck. Either elicits rage quits and I hate you type reactions, or this is the best.
I get
thing
the
I've
other
ever
reaction.
seen.
I stop and I go like, "All right,
I want to see this.
Let's
Yeah.
see you work this one out for yourself." I get more amused than rage quitty. All right, here's
Right
another
now
question.
you're in a timeout.
Yeah. Should use the ability. Oh yes. Sorry, I was missing my prompt. There we go. I got a land.
Nice.
Now do what you're doing.
All right. Well, now what I'm going to do is run out of time.
Are there any additional improvements for multiplayer on the way?
Multiplayer.
I think that was mentioned in the chat as well.
Besides addressing any specific, we'll continue to address bugs.
Mhm.
We're basically in a performance, stability, and bugs mode
Mhm.
for the most part, and polish. You know, taking features that we have and iterating on them as we can. So if you're specifically looking for new features for multiplayer, that's unlikely before V3 off. But we'll continue to look at what we have and see what we can make better in terms of polish before
You
V3
did
off.
just time out.
Yeah, I told you I would. I stopped bothering to try and resolve it because I had 30 seconds. I was not going to pull it off.
All right.
Maybe if someone had the sound worked out before started, I lost 15 minutes of clock to not creating an echo chamber for our listeners. So anyway.
All right. Start climb back up.
Yep.
Are there plans to allow players to left justify their cards? I saw a lot of people today and yesterday on Twitter mostly asking that question.
There are no immediate plans to allow for that. The reason why it's center justified is because it is aesthetically more pleasing that way. For most people feel that way. I feel I was thrown off by the center justification when I first started here and was playing with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can't imagine it the other way. I can only speak for myself, and I don't attempt to speak for all of our players. But I often wonder what kind of reaction we would get if V3 had been center justified, or if the client had always been center justified, and in the new client we decided to make it left justified, and what kind of reaction that would get. Whether people would say, "Oh, that's a huge improvement," or "Why don't you have it centered?" I know that I strongly prefer the center justification now. There are a couple of reasonable functionality arguments for left justification. It makes for slightly less card movement in the sense that a new card doesn't change anything at all, and it puts the cards a little bit closer to the information panels on the left. So we're keeping that all in mind, but we really want to get people playing it and used to it for a little bit before we get too reactionary. And in design, you can just second guess yourself constantly as you get feedback from different groups and different users. And so we don't want to just start making changes willy-nilly because one person is saying one thing and another person is saying another, while at the same time we want to hear what everybody has to say. So.
Okay. I owe several shout-outs to the Twitter crowd that was telling us that our audio was still broken, and I didn't see it. I'm sorry, guys. Adman, mildly vain, thank you. Andrew Weiser, thanks. All right, we got another question here. Will the deck editor be changed so that each card changes in a server right? And this is a problem that I have heard maybe once or twice, where it's basically the auto save will cause the game to make server rights if you're on a network.
We're certainly looking for ways to increase performance in the collection scene in particular, which is where it's roughest in the client right now. So I will pass on those comments to the people technically minded enough to interpret them correctly. But all I can speak to is the fact that, again, between now and V3 off, performance improvements are one of our, if not the top priority. We wanted to nail down our major design changes before the developers went really to the mat on performance improvements, so that they would know that stuff wasn't changing radically underneath them as they were doing it. So.
Okay. This might be a Chris question. Will the new client let us choose an installation path?
That is another comment I've received from elsewhere, and again, it's not my department, but I have absolutely passed it on to those for whom it is. So.
All right. Let's see. Are there any improvements in store for game replays? One suggestion, or one request rather, somebody would like to be able to switch, if you're watching a 3-game match, easily switch between the replays of those matches.
Not immediate. I have a lot of things I'd like to see improved in the replay department, including the sharing of replays, the replaying of entire drafts, so that you can see your pick sequences in a draft and share those. In the immediate though, no. Again, it just becomes a priority thing where I really don't think, as much as I would love that stuff, I cannot go into a room full of developers, business managers, and team members and say, seriously, the number one thing we need to do with Magic Online is make the replay system better. I totally want that. I do, and I believe that we will be getting there. But there's a lot of things ahead of it on the list, frankly.
Okay. All right. Twitch. Any questions that I missed? If I did miss them, I'm sorry, but now's the time to repost them. Here's a Facebook question. Why no Personal Playmats?
I was not around for the original design of how the backgrounds and styling were going to work in the client. By the time I was around, again, personalizing playmats just never rose up to something high enough to warrant not doing something else. Because any one thing we do is another thing we don't do, and allowing the customization of playmats, deliberate customization of the playmats, was not high enough on the list to be something we've been tackling the last several months.
Okay. Somebody's saying about leagues. Leagues are in the works.
Yes, they
It's
are.
a big project.
Worth announced the return of leagues in in December. He wrote an article announcing their return in 2014. I am personally part of the team working on that, and can assure you that indeed we are working on the redesign of them. And there's a lot of people see leagues as something that is just a matter of, well, why not just set up that event format and turn it back on? There's a lot more tied to the back end with leagues than most people imagine. And so really one of the reasons leagues is such a huge project is that there's a ton of infrastructure work to be done on the back end to make them function, to make them persist over downtimes and that kind of thing.
Okay.
And so there's the design side of it, but there's also just this heavy infrastructure side of it that's a significant undertaking. So that's why it's going to take till then, but I'm very excited about it.
Okay. That was multiple people. Eternal Witness was actually the one I caught.
Oh, okay.
And I love your name. Let's see, there was another one.
All right, let's see. Let's actually look.
Is it EVRSR? Was asking about Windows 8 compatibility.
Windows 8 is on our list of supported operating systems, I believe. Again, this kind of gets outside of my area of
I
expertise
believe
a
I've
little
heard
bit.
people using it on Windows 8. whether or
So
not
if you're experiencing problems on Windows 8, we'd love to hear about it. And if you don't use you can use the check with any org to get instructions on how to submit that kind of feedback, or anybody can submit any problems they're having directly to me at ryan.spain@wizards.com. That's SPAIN. So I'm happy to
Okay.
hear from you.
All right. Oh, okay. Here is, this is more like a Chris question. I'm sorry. It's
Okay, give me a try though. We'll see
Windows
what I
8 RT specifically for ARM tablets.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, we're getting
Okay.
outside of my area of expertise.
I'll write it down, though,
So
for
yeah,
you.
absolutely
Okay.
pass that on to the correct people, but I can't effectively speak
All right.
to it. So I'm going to animate the foil treatment.
Let's see. We got that one. Sorry, I don't want to miss. Got that one. Do you have any information about what we're planning to do with promo codes?
We're doing a lot of brainstorming on promo codes right now. We are looking at ways to use them as promotions, a way to connect paper to digital, ways to handle reimbursements. This is all just brainstorm, though. None of that is a promise. I'm just saying we're all discussing the various ways that we can use promo codes to quickly deliver things to people that we want to deliver, and to create fun and exciting paper and online connected promotions, and also just the way we've been using them so far. Every time we use them, I hear from our international customers who are disappointed, to say the least, that they can't participate based on the terms and conditions. I'm really sorry about that. I would love for it to be something we share with everybody. Again, I cannot speak to the laws and whatnot that are involved in coordinating an effort like that. It's outside of my department, but I can certainly tell all of our international customers that everybody internally is aware that there's a strong desire
Definitely.
from the part of our international customers to participate, and those that can do that work know about it and are looking into it.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I know. I'm really excited about promo codes because they're actually they're very versatile. Though, we know about the the heavy desire for non-US promo code redemption.
Mm-hmm.
You moved my cookie. There we go.
There you go.
All right.
What else you got?
We're
Play again?
we got a late start, so I'm willing to go a few minutes over.
Yeah, I don't have anything at 3:30, so if you want to keep talking,
Okay,
cover
cool.
all the questions, that's fine with me.
Let's see.
You
Are
wanna
there plans
challenge
to
me
make?
again?
This is more like a docking question, which you kind of touched on earlier with the graveyard on docking and moving. But are there plans to make the client better for those without multiple monitors? I know right now having multiple monitors isn't exactly necessary, but it definitely helps, especially with like the preview window.
Yeah, well, it would be nice to have some more specifics about specifically what a single monitor user is experiencing that's frustrating, in the sense that we are constantly trying to improve Magic Online. We are, by definition, constantly trying to improve it for single monitor users as well. In fact, the presumption is that's predominantly that's most of the people. So while some of our features are very nice and convenient for multiple monitors, ultimately, I would have to get a better understanding of what this person is experiencing that they want to see improved. I mean, all I can say is yes, we're constantly striving to improve Magic Online, and we recognize that the predominant use case is single monitor or laptops, and we keep that in mind as we're looking at our improvements. So.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, there are a lot of Mac fans out there wondering about Magic Online on iOS. That was pretty well covered in the last Q&A, and that was when we had Worth Wolpert here, and his basic answer, without trying to duplicate exactly what he said, was that the decision to make the new client was based off of using .NET framework as a core platform for the client. So switching the current new client over
Right.
would be a monstrous task. That doesn't mean that it's never going to happen. And again, there's a recording of the previous broadcast, and I recommend you go look that up. We've got it on our official Magic the Gathering YouTube channel, and it's in the past broadcasts on the Magic Pro Tour Twitch channel.
Yep.
What are the plans for improving classifieds, buying, selling, trading?
Some of them are present now, and that we've added some stuff that V3 doesn't have in this build. Let's see if I go to trade. Are you still in the
Oh, yeah.
beta? Like, put up an ad. So, long term, we understand that the trade system on Magic Online needs a more significant overhaul than what we've currently done, which is basically port the V3 trade system to the beta client. We have added some additional features, such as the being able to have multiple trade binders, and thus offer up different things to different trade partners depending on what you're looking to trade away in that given exchange. It looks like somebody else is in here helping out. So, so if I were looking now, though, if I'm looking for Tybalt, and I type it in here and look for
Thanks,
it,
Christian.
it'll filter down to the post containing it and make the Tybalt pop out so that you can more quickly find what you're looking for among the classifieds. And these lists on the left are handy. Right now I don't have any, I have a couple buddies, but I don't have any previous trade partners. But most people trade with the same people over and over again.
Yeah.
And so previous trade partners is a great addition. And we are looking for, so there's an overhaul that is needed to bring trading up to modern standards of games that video games that involve exchange of goods and materials in the game world. While we work on that, I am working with a smaller team to look at ways we can bridge that gap with additional improvements to the trade system as it stands. I have no promises on that front. I'm just saying that is something I would love to see is something between what we have now and a more significant kind of complete rethink. And we're talking and discussing our options on that now.
Okay, great. All right, I think that just about does it for this Q&A. I know we started a little bit late. We're also missing a couple people, so
Yeah.
it kind of balances out. What we're going to do, this isn't going to be our last Q&A for sure. Make sure you go into our forums right now. There's a thread for this Q&A, but post your questions anyway. We'll get them answered in the next one. And we've also got, for those of you trying out the wide beta and just trying it for the first time or whatever, we've got wide beta feedback threads in the forums right now, in the official Magic General forums. And we keep those refreshed, and we do look at those. We've also got our wide beta surveys that go out regularly, and as well as the wide beta feedback forum that's pretty much always up, and you can submit it as many times as you want. And that's looked at very closely by the development team as well. Okay. Trying to think if there's anything else I should tell people for wide beta feedback. Those really are the best places to give feedback.
Yeah, and you can give it now if you want. I would love for you all to give it a try during the spotlight. It'll be again an updated build, even from the one that was released today, that has some key fixes and improvements to that as well. And would love to hear from you after the spotlight and let us know what you think.
All right, great. All right, well, yeah. Thanks
Thanks
for joining me. And thanks, Jace Balerian, for joining us
Thanks,
also.
Jace.
Sorry you didn't get much time on camera. All right, we will see you next time, everybody.
All right.